Welcome to Lesson 8.2. Today we're going to talk about the 5-number summary. So the 5-number summary has 5 numbers in it. It's got the minimum, which is the smallest number in the data set. Quartile 1, or we'll refer to it as Q1, that's the middle number in the set of numbers that are smaller than the median. We've got our quartile 2, or Q2, that's our median of the data set, same as the last section. Quartile 3, or Q3, that's the middle number in the set of numbers that are bigger than the median. And then the maximum is the largest number in the data set. So to find the 5-number summary, the first thing you want to do is to put the numbers in order from smallest to largest. Then we're going to find the 5-number summary in the following order. So we're not going to go in the order that we had on the last one. So the way we want to do it is we want to find our minimum, which is again the smallest number in the data set. Then find the maximum, which is the largest number in the data set. Then we're going to find quartile 2, or Q2. That's the middle of the entire data set. From there we can find the quartile 1, or Q1. That's going to be the median of the numbers in the data set that's smaller than Q2. Then we're going to find quartile 3, or Q3. That's the median of all the numbers in the data set that are bigger than our Q2 value. So the uses that we have of the 5-number summary, it breaks the data set into 4 equal parts. So between each of the numbers in the 5-number summary is 25% of the data. We use it to create box and whisker plots. And it's also used to find percentiles in data sets. Percentiles tell what percent of the data is equal to or smaller than the given number. So the minimum is always the 0th percentile because there are no numbers smaller than the minimum in the data set. The quartile 1 is the 25th percentile, so 25% or 1/4 of the values are less than our Q1 value. Q2 is the 50th percentile, which means half of the numbers are smaller than or equal to that Q2 value. Q3 is 75th percentile, which means 75% of the numbers are less than or equal to our Q3 value. And the maximum is the 100th percentile because 100% or all of the numbers are smaller than or equal to our maximum. So if we are given a data set, again, the first thing we want to do is put these numbers in order. Okay, so I see a 40 here, and after that I see a 47 and another one, and then a 48, a 49, 3 of them actually, a couple of 50s, and then a 57. All right. So again, the first one we find is our minimum. That's 40 right there. After that, we can find our maximum. That's 57. From there, we want to find our median, or our quartile 2 value. So we find that just the way we did in the last section. So we check off 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then it's right in the middle here. Between 49 and 49, well, that's the same number, so our median is going to be 49. Okay, so it's actually in between these two 49s, so we have to still use those. For our quartile 1, I'm going to take all of the numbers to the left of where my median is. And I'm going to find the middle of those. You see how we have 5 numbers here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to pretend that that is my smaller data set, and I'm going to find the middle there. So check one off, check one off, check it off, check off. My middle number for those smaller values is 47. For quartile 3, I'm going to do the same thing with the numbers that are to the right of my median. Again, I've got 5 numbers, so if I check off 1 from each side, I get that my middle value here for my quartile 3 is 50. So that's how I can find my 5-number summary. Given another example here, we've got this data set provided. It's not in order, so the first thing I need to do is put it in order. So the smallest number I see 365, so I'm going to put those down first. After that, I see a 67. I see 2 68s. I see 2 70s. I see a 72 and a 74. Okay, so now they're in order. I can go ahead and find my minimum, which is my smallest value of 65. I can find my maximum, which is my largest value of 74. My median, again, of the whole data set, I check off one from each side. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And again, I've got right in the middle here, so I'm going to go in between the two, but they're the same number, so the middle in between 68 and 68 is 68. For my first quartile value, again, I'm only looking at the numbers to the left of my median, so only those 5 numbers, and I find the median again. 1, 2, 1, 2, and I'm left with a value of 65 for my quartile 1. For quartile 3, again, I'm going to do the same thing, but to the numbers to the right of my median. So I'm going to take everything to the right there, check off each side until I get to the middle, giving me a median or a quartile 3 value of 70. So here are my 5 numbers summary. My minimum is 65, my quartile 1 is 65, my median or quartile 2 is 68, my quartile 3 is 70, and my maximum is 74. This data set is a little different. It's got decimals in it, but I'm going to do the exact same thing I did before. They're not in order, so I'm going to put them in order. I see a 4, then I see a 7.5, then I see 3/8, and then a 9, a 9.5, a 10, and then 2 11s. Once I have that, I can find my minimum value of 4. I can find my maximum value of 11. The median or quartile 2 of the whole data set, again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now it's right in the middle of these two. So since they're not the same number, I have to add them together and divide by 2. That's going to get me a median value of 8.5. For my quartile 1, again, I take all of the numbers to the left of my median, and I find the median of those. So 1, 2, 1, 2. And I've got my median right there. My quartile 1 is a value of 8. For my quartile 3, I take everything to the right of my quartile 2 value. And again, I check off 1 from each side until I get to the middle value of 10. So I've got a minimum of 4, a Q1 of 8, a Q2 of 8.5, a Q3 of 10, and a maximum of 11. Another example here, we've got our data set. It's already given to us in order, as you can see, from smallest to largest here, so I don't have to put them in order again. I can go right to finding my minimum of 37, my maximum of 55, my median or quartile 2 value, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. Okay, 52 is my median. So now for quartile 1, I cannot include 52, so I only take these 4 numbers and I cross them off, 1, 2, and you'll notice I've got 2 numbers here for my median, so I'm going to need to add those together and divide it by 2, giving me a quartile 1 value of 45. I'll do the same thing for quartile 3. Again, I cannot include the quartile 2 value, so I can only take the 4 numbers that are bigger than 52. And again, cross them off, 1, 2. You'll notice I've got 2 numbers here in the middle of 54 and 54. That's just going to be a value of 54. So my minimum is 37, my Q1 is 45, my Q2 is 52, my Q3 is 54, and my maximum is 55. Go ahead and pause the video and do this last one on your own, and then hit play and see how you did. As you're going through here, you should have found that your minimum is 62, your quartile 1 is 69, your quartile 2 is 71, your quartile 3 is 74, and your maximum is 77. Now in all of these examples, you should have noticed that it goes in order from smallest to largest. Minimum is the smallest, then it's quartile 1, then it's quartile 2, then quartile 3, then the max. If they are not in that order from smallest to largest, you did not do something correct. So you need to make sure that your minimum is the smallest and it works its way up to larger numbers until you finally hit the maximum.